Hey there, Facebook. So more positive news out of here in Italy. We just saw today that there are a high of recoveries in the last couple of days. Recoveries, the number of people each day who are newly reported fully recovered from the coronavirus, that's now spiked. In the last 3 days, we've seen more than 22,000 people each day. Today, 2,200. Yesterday, it was a high of more than 2,600 in a day. And the day before that, it was still well above 2,000. So this is good news because, every day I've been coming to you with news of the death rate and the new infection rate. These are important metrics. They really say quite a lot about what this country is going through and whether or not they're flattening the curve, as we keep hearing, whether or not the curve is no longer shooting sky high and is actually kind of growing at a more incremental rate. Well, that's been happening. We've seen that for the last several weeks. Italy's lockdown, which is now entering its 6th week, it's been succeeding. But another crucial metric is this recovery rate. Why? As it shows who's actually leaving the hospital. It shows that the people who are getting the disease are getting better, and even more important, that they're relieving the stress on hospitals, particularly in the north, that have been overloaded for the past couple of weeks. And it's showing that now these doctors, these nurses, these medics, more than 100 of them have died of this disease. It's really relieving the pressure on them, and that's crucial going ahead. It means that this medical system, which has been so badly strained by carrying a massive burden from this disease here in Italy, that it now might actually be able to adapt. It might actually now be able to, not return to normal, but it might actually be able to accommodate more patients. It's no longer going to be this awful triage where doctors are trying to decide whether or not these intubation units are going to go to sick people or really sick people, whether somebody might die, and if they give it to somebody who's near death, they might miss a patient who they could possibly save. That was a really grim, grisly act that these doctors were having to do in the last couple of weeks, particularly, again, in the north, which was carrying the bulk of the weight here in Italy. So now, with the stress being relieved on the medical system, we could start to see some policy changes. Now, we're already seeing that just this past week. We saw lifting of some restrictions on some businesses. It was a very small group of businesses. Stationery stores, bookstores, children's clothing stores, and forestry activities. Now, it sounds really strange. It was really strange to me, but that just goes to show that if that's successful, if that doesn't cause a spike in new diseases by opening that very narrow number of shops, then policymakers might decide that they can lift more restrictions and kind of loosen this lockdown even more, because Italians, they're desperate to get back to work.